Hello, everybody, and welcome back to AGX Media. I'm your host, Nick. Joining me today is none other than David Smith, Senior Analyst for the Morgan Report and longtime Load Ambassador, joining us today to talk about the price action we're seeing in gold and silver. But first, guys, as usual, if it is your first time joining us, please go ahead and subscribe to our channel and check out agxpay.com to learn how the power of modern silver money can help you gain financial freedom. So diving right into it, David, right now it's beginning to feel a little bit like Groundhog Day for many investors with the sell-offs we've seen in gold and silver. Although silver was recently a little bit higher this morning, overnight selling caused a lot of damage. What are your thoughts on this? Where is this coming from?
Well, a lot of it is coming from selling contracts of gold and silver on margin in the futures space. I mean, thousands of contracts. There's nothing to back it other than a little bit of money at 5 cents on the dollar. And the market's kind of, the market makers kind of know when, the buying is tapered off for a little bit. And it's almost like when you inhale, and if someone hits you when you're breathing in, it really is disorienting and hurts. And they seem to know when the market is starting to inhale after it's had a pretty good run. And this is predictable as the fact that someday it's going to rain again, and you can't say what day it'll be, but you can kind of get a feeling after you've had a good run, well, we're getting close to another one of these things. And so I would say this, this has been going on for a long time. And I remember in 2008 when they did this and knocked it down silver to $9 paper, but the real silver we're selling for 12 to 15. So we're much higher now. And, the paper has been knocked down to 25 and we're selling for, $27 or $28 with the premium. So the market keeps going up. It doesn't go away. It doesn't go to zero.
Absolutely. So I like the metaphor you use there. It is almost like getting the wind knocked out of you, like getting a gut punch, so to speak. And you wrote an article on just this subject recently, didn't you, on how to survive these kind of blows when they come?
Yeah, I did. And I framed it as an analogy and as a metaphor. In fact, the article will be out within a day or two on Money Metals, and then it'll be distributed at a lot of other websites like GoldSeek and 321 Gold, that type of thing. But it'll be widely available. But the analogy that I used would be when I was in training in the martial arts, which I still do over many years, my sensei once asked me when I was working through the Dan ranks to design some responses for a couple of real life situations that either I had been in earlier on or that I might be in that I wasn't sure how I would handle properly. And so I chose this one about getting sucker punched, which happened to me in the 3rd grade quite a while ago. And I think, as I remember, I had put out my hand to shake with a supposed friend. I guess we were making up or something. And instead of the handshake, I got that, but I also got the other hand into my stomach. And it was very disconcerting. And, if you've never had it happen before, you think you're helpless. I mean, you had the air knocked out of you and you're bent over and you're afraid and all this kind of stuff. But, there's got to be a way to deal with that. And so what I did to try to see if I could deal with that would be I trained for about 10 minutes real hard, and then I breathed out as far as I could and without breathing in. And then holding my breath out, I asked myself, what could I do in terms of empty hand and foot techniques and things like that? Would I be able to respond in a way that made sense? And by golly, I had several techniques that immediately came there with power and focus. And I think I could have defended myself if I had been sucker punched. And of course, the ideal way is, as Master Miyagi says in Karate Kid, is not to be there. But you cannot be there, if you use the analogy of the metals market where you get sucker punched, by not being on margin, by not carrying a position that's too big for you to sleep at night, and for buying in tranches, and for having a plan and carrying it out. So somebody that wanted to contribute to the Load project, for example, they would probably buy over several different times, over maybe several months, if they want to average out what the silver price would be. And certainly, if they saw a knockdown like we had a week or two ago where silver dropped $2.50, and it's recovered a lot of that now, they would go, oh, a buying opportunity. Now, sometimes when that happens, the premium goes through the roof right away, and so you end up paying about the same. But what's interesting now, and I can't speak for right now, but within for several days after that knockdown, the premiums stayed pretty level, which was surprising, and they had dropped, you know, to a normal range. So a person that was kind of keeping track of things could have gone, well, look at this, the premiums have not shot up yet. There's some availability. I'm going to buy a physical. I'm going to buy some more load tokens. I'm going to buy AGX. And they would go ahead with what they had already planned by being a surprise gift. It's like it's on sale. If you're in the grocery store and your favorite, loaf of bread goes on sale for half price and it's fresh, it just came in, you don't go, well, I don't want it. It costs less than it did yesterday. You buy a couple loaves. So that's how that works. And I think it's a good analogy. And I think the people in the metal space and the mining space can respond as effectively to a metaphorical sucker punch by the market makers as I was able to do in my training in real life.
Fantastic analogy. I really love the comparison to the martial arts there. And it's sound advice, especially for people who are perhaps newer to trading in gold and silver. So thank you for that insight there. So the other player in the space, and honestly, a bit of an elephant of the rooms these days, is the price action we've seen in the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets. Are you seeing any correlation between what's going on there and the sell-offs that we're seeing in silver and gold?
Not directly. And, you know, people are starting to try to make that emphasis, and sometimes there seems to be, but you know, I look at Bitcoin and the alt currencies as as not competitors, but kind of like partners in the movement to honest money and to some privacy in your trading and things like this. So they don't have to replace each other. In fact, they shouldn't. I think a person that wants to be well-rounded and well-informed and have flexibility should have alt currencies, should have load tokens, should have AGX coins, should have physical gold and silver in a safe place, because they both satisfy some very important aspects of what real money is in terms of fungibility and usability and safety and all that. But they also have a little different application. It's a little different way to apply selling to buy something, to buy several thousand AGX coins that are backed by silver versus pulling out a 100-ounce bar and trying to sell that, to carry it to the store or whatever, and trying to get a way to do that. And with so many more places now that are accepting, as an example that we're talking about here, the AGX coins and the AUX coins now in gold, that really gives you an extra layer of I guess the right term would be flexibility, usability, and strategic planning that did not exist just a few years ago.
It's true. It's true, and that's really the benefit of the technology that we're trying to bring with this entire project, to be honest. So last year ended up being a pretty decent year for silver and gold at large. And in light of these sell-offs, what are your thoughts on 2021? Are we going to see momentum continue to grow for the metals? What are your thoughts in this arena?
I think that as more people come into this space, and some of them are arguably, if not money, going into Bitcoin, but at least their attention. I don't think a lot of money that would have gone into gold and silver is going into Bitcoin, but I think the attention is there. And the big money that's going in there was money that was going to go in anyway. It's just a question that they need to be motivated for that. I think physical silver will continue to tighten. The premiums will trend higher over time. The knockdowns will be shorter in duration and they'll be recovered more quickly. And I believe that well before the end of the year, silver will be making highs much higher than last year and possibly even above the all-time highs of $50. I think $40 is certainly achievable. And I think it will surprise most people when it takes place. I think people that think they can wait to respond are going to be sadly disappointed in several respects, not only because of the premiums going up sharply, but the question on availability and the question on them even believing that it's real. They wait, they'll go, well, it's up $5, but is this real? And then by the time they decide to act, it's up $10, So that sort of thing is penny wise and pound foolish. Get what you need, buy in tranches over time, diversify into digital versus just physical, buy a few mining stocks, and I think you'll be well protected.
Well said, David. Sounds like you're quite bullish, as am I, on the metals in the long run, as per usual. That's all we have for today. As per usual, fantastic insights. Any closing word for our audiences before we wrap up today?
Well, just I think a structured, layered, rational approach, and being there for the long term, because it'll be a process that keeps going on, I think, for quite a while. I hate to see people that either don't act on the plan that they put together, which is very common. They plan it all out, but they don't act on it for whatever reason, or they become too involved and they try to mortgage a house and things like that. There's that middle ground, and I think that will enable them not to get knocked off of the bull. And David Morgan has said this so many times, you know, at the Morgan Report. He says that bull will do everything it can to shake you off, and it really does. And all of us, you know, have to kind of bear that in mind as we go on. So that's what I would recommend. And you know, I want to Nick, give you a compliment, because I've listened to so many of your interviews here over the last year or so, and I want to compliment you on the incredible uh, capability that you've developed. I mean, I think it improves all the time, and your professionalism and that, and I think you're doing a great job, and I'm very proud to be associated with you and to be interviewed by you.
Oh, I'm genuinely touched, David. It is a privilege to be working with legends such as yourself, and you know, I think this year is going to be incredibly prosperous for the project. So let's strap in, because the bull's going to be raging in pretty quickly here. That's all we have for today, everybody. Once again, as per usual, if this is your first time joining us, please go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Every comment, every like, every share that you guys make helps get the message out there about the honest money movement that we're building here at the Load Project. That's all for today. Take care.